Hello everyone, this is Mason Haggett from the Casino Co-Official, and today we are going to be reading The Lost Flower Chapter 7, Almost There, by yours truly, Mason Charles Haggett. Narrator: George stands firmly in front of the ship as soldiers step out of it. Gila monsters with flamethrowers begin lining up next to George, along with the motorcycle chameleons, and a bunch of flying lizards land with rocket launchers tied to their backs. Other skeleton soldiers line up as well with their magic all ready for use, along with the ice soldiers and their bows and arrows. The soldiers come stampeding out of the truck as Mr. Mustache comes out standing in the middle of them. Mr. Mustache: Long time no see, George. George: What do you mean long time no see? This is the first time I've met you. Now leave this place because you and your men are outnumbered. Mr. Mustache: Men? The only one here that's human is me. These are all robots. Well, robot or not, get out of here now. Mr. Mustache: I'm not leaving, George. Me and my men are going to hold up this city until we get that flower. George: That flower, Cherry, is a living creature, and it has rights to which it is something that the tyrants and whoever you are seem to overlook. Mr. Mustache: First of all, flowers are alive, and do they have rights? No, flowers don't have rights. They just sit there and grow in the garden. Second of all, George, my name is John. As I said earlier, long time no see, old friend. Narrator: George is shocked. He remembers John, how they shared opinions on Jolly and how the two ended up defeating her when she betrayed them. George: John, what happened to you? John: I do not want to hurt anyone. I just want to help. Dave: Alright, I've heard enough from this guy. Narrator: Dave, the chameleon, fires at one of the soldiers. The humanoid robot falls over and bleeds oil. The soldiers attack. Ice, fire, bullets, bones, magic, all flying all over the place. John snaps his finger and summons his sword in his hands and clashes blades with George. They continue fighting as John talks. John: As I was saying, I don't want to hurt anyone. George: Then explain the soldiers killing people. John: All of this could have been avoided if you just gave me that flower. George: Why do you even want that stupid flower so badly? John: George: I believe my scientist, have found the cure to all diseases, even cancer. That flower is the beginning. George: Makes sense. Narrator: They continue fighting. George summons some bones and sends them flying at John. John is surprisingly flexible, especially judging how he looks. He jumps out of the way of the bones and then turns the floor into ice, and jet fire comes out of the bottom of John's shoes as he begins to float above the ground. Meanwhile, Carsreel is riding out of the city on his motorcycle. Scott is on the back end of the motorcycle. Carsreel is not a responsible driver. Traffic is insane as everyone is trying to leave the city due to the battle going on. Carsreel drives over all the cars as Scott tries to hold on to this healing cylinder that Cherry is in. Scott: Could you drive any slower? Carsreel: No, we're in the middle of a battle right now. Narrator: Someone shoots a hole through one of the tires as on the motorcycle. They go flying off the Dark Realm freeway and go into a lake. Carsreel grabs Scott's arm as Scott holds the cylinder. Good thing there's a lid on the cylinder. Carsreel swims to shore as they are held up by 4 of the humanoid robot soldiers. Carsreel: Well, crud. Narrator: Just before they could shoot, Carsreel summons one of his rainbow swords and throws it in a curve and cuts off their heads as it flies back and lands in the palm of his hand. Then, more soldiers appear and surround them. A literal horde of them, all holding big heavy rifles. Scott: Here we go. Narrator: All of them fire at once as a force field appears around Carsrail and Scott. Carsrail, hold up. Narrator, Cherry slowly opens the container she's in and slithers out. She then lands on the ground, shaking. Her face is bleeding the green substance nonstop. She then begins to scream as a giant shockwave comes out of her, destroying all the humanoid soldiers around them. Cherry passes out. Carsrail, sister! Narrator, Carsrail begins to use his healing magic on Cherry. Scott, I'll drive you heal Cherry. Carsrail, but you don't know how to drive. Scott, well, I'm probably a better driver than you. Narrator, Scott gets on the motorcycle while Carsrail puts Cherry back in the cylinder and uses his healing magic on her as he sits on the back of the motorcycle while Scott drives like a mad lad. Back to George and John. Narrator, George slips and slides on the ice floor as John throws ice balls at him. George manages to dodge them and block some of the other ice balls. John, and if I had to be honest, George, you, my friend, are not all innocent either. Remember when you destroyed that village and killed many people in it just so you could find me and Amber and deliver us to the king? Yeah, what a good person George Fox is, am I right? George, but you have literally thousands of humanoid soldiers attacking a city, and you are even working with King Knight and King Chad, two dangerous tyrants. You remember how dangerous the king was, right? John, haha, hypocrite. Who were you working for when you were hunting me and my friend down? ... John, exactly. And these humanoid robots are programmed just to injure, not kill. The only person I programmed to kill is Scott. Narrator, they continue on fighting as they talk, clashing blades using their magic. John, so how have things been going? George, good. Narrator, John dodges a horde of bones that fly at him. George learned how to stand on ice a bit better. John, cool. Narrator, George summons a ton of ice shards that fly at George. George rolls out of the way. George, so how's Amber doing? Narrator, George tries to swat at John with his giant axe, but John blocks it with his sword. John, we've gotten married. In fact, today's our 14th anniversary. George, oh, congratulations, I guess. Narrator, John fires some ice balls at George. George slides out of the way and throws his axe at John. It slices off one of his arms. John, ah, crap. Good thing it was my robotic arm. You know, that arm costs more than your college, you know. You know what? I'm leaving it to the soldiers. Enjoy. Narrator, John flies off into his little shuttle. The next day. Narrator, the battle continues on in the city. It's been going on all night. Carsrail wakes up early after using his healing magic on Cherry all night. Thankfully, the only deformity is Cherry's right eye is green, unlike the left eye, which is brown, and one of her petals are purple, when all the other are golden. He yawns extra loud, waking up Scott, but not Cherry. Scott, jeez, dude. Carsrail, sorry about that. Scott, so just curious, why haven't you killed me yet if you want me dead so badly? Carsrail, oh, it wasn't me who wants you dead, it's the king. The only reason those soldiers attacked you was there was the king's orders, but I told them not to hurt Cherry. However, they completely ignored that statement, which ended up costing them each an ear. Scott, oh. Carsrail, the only thing I wanted was to take my sister home, that's it. Scott, where is your home? Carsrail, no idea yet. I used to live in this place called the Forgotten Realm, where all abandoned creations go to rest and live the rest of their lives in peace. But I escaped from the control of that darn queen, and I freed myself from the chains she tied me down in and saw my full potential. Carsrail, then, when I heard of the sightings of a small flower, I knew exactly who it was. At first, the reason I worked with these tyrants was because I wanted a new purpose in life. I wanted to lead an army again like in my good old days. But right when I saw that Ara, my sister, was still alive, I knew what I had to do. I swindled them all and made them think I was going to give her to them. But really, I just want to keep her safe. Scott, well, and here I thought you were the bad guy. Carsrail, oh, don't worry, I still am. But you get the privilege of being my friend, bro. Scott, oh, okay, nice. Narrator, Cherry wakes up. Carsrail, sister! Scott, Cherry! It's Cherry the flower. Ah! Carswell, no, don't worry. I'm not here to hurt you, alright? Everything's going to be fine. Narrator, Cherry stopped screaming. Cherry the flower, my face is not bleeding anymore. Carswell, yup. Yup. Cherry the flower, wait, did you use healing magic, Carswell? Carswell, yup. Cherry the flower, oh no. Carswell, don't worry, it's not as bad as it looks. One of your eyes is a different color, and I think that's it. Scott, oh, and one of her petals is purple. Cherry the flower almost passes out. Scott, hey, just saying, it looks kind of cool. Cherry the flower, really? Carswell, oh, yeah, it does. Cherry the flower, anyways, what are you going to do with me? Carswell, take you home? Cherry the flower, to the Forgotten Realm? Carswell, no, anywhere but there. You're probably gonna end up being my little sidekick for all I know. Cherry the flower, but brother, I've been looking for the Forgotten Realm ever since I've heard of it. Why do you want to go there? You would just become a pawn to Charlotte. Cherry the flower, no, I'm not gonna become one of her stupid pawns. I'm gonna rest finally. Fine, I'll give you a choice. You can come with me and we will discover many worlds. Or you can go with Scott and help him fight the king. Cherry the flower, I'm gonna go with Scott. Carswell, alright? It's set then. Sister, there's something I always want you to remember before I go. Cherry the flower, what is it? Carswell, you will always be my number one. Narrator, Carswell walks away. All rights reserved to Casino Co.